Yeah.
Interesting. I like the notion of taking some time off to kind of reset and let the audience reset. It's funny because we were interviewing Matthew McConaughey about 2 weeks ago on this podcast, and he said that he had to do the exact same thing. Two of our generation's greatest actors, Matthew McConaughey and Bryan Cranston, he had to just stop getting pictured outside shirtless so that he would no longer be receiving offers for rom-coms. You probably had to just, like no more pictures of you in your whitey tighties standing on a road.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Speaking of
it's like you got to draw the line somewhere or you forever be typecast.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's that Matthew just sent me his book, Green Lights, and I'm looking forward to reading that. But that's what you have to do. And what he did take a journal, try some other avenues of creativity that stimulates you. If you're fortunate, which we have been, there's always avenues for you to go back and try something else.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell when you run into somebody on the street and they recognize you? Can you tell right away if they're going to know you as the dentist from Seinfeld, as Malcolm's dad, or Walter White?
Usually by their age, I can tell, or the gender. If it's an older mom, it's like, oh, I bet that's a Malcolm thing there. Mm-hmm. In the city, in New York City, in more urban settings, older people know me as the dentist on Seinfeld. College kids or guys, who are just starting out, your age, your generation, that's mostly Breaking Bad, I think, is that known?
Yeah. The final question is brought to you by Cross Country Mortgage, America's crazy good mortgage company. Go to ccmlens.com/take to learn more about your future home buying experience or refinancing needs. Equal housing opportunity.
I think Breaking Bad, at least in my opinion, I think it's the best television show of all time. And the character arc that you have when you're working on it, Walter White goes from, the most mild-mannered milquetoast guy that you can ever imagine to obviously like a ruthless killer and a criminal mob boss, essentially. As you found yourself acting in that role over the course of those years, did you feel cooler as like year 3 and 4 happened? You're like, I don't have to play nerd anymore. I can like shave my head, go around talking shit to people.
It's really something. There is something innate in confidence, and when I cast people as I direct and produce now too, so I'm also casting. When I see an actor come in filled with confidence, it gives me confidence that they can do what they say they can do. And I think that goes a long way. I try to tell high school and college kids, be bold, take a step out, look someone in the eye, have confidence in that. If you see someone who walks into a room looking for a job and they're like, maybe, and I don't know if I'm not winning them. I look at that and I go, I'm not sure that I can trust that if they get on the set that they can do this job.
Yeah.
So confidence is everything.
That's probably the compliment we get the most in terms of our sports opinions. We are terrible with them. Our takes are terrible, but we say them confidently enough that people think we're right. Why do you
hang on. There's a difference between confidence and arrogance.
Yeah, we're arrogant.
Okay.
That's us.
All right, so here's an arrogant.
It turns out arrogance plays in sports.
Yeah, here's an arrogant/confident question. How big of an asterisk do we put next to the Dodgers World Series victory because it was only 60 games and it didn't really count?
Shut up. That's an arrogant question. How about going back to 2017 and telling the Houston Asterisk that they don't deserve that trophy?
Yes. How? So you obviously are a big Dodgers fan. Are you a Lakers fan as well? Has this been like?
Yeah, I'm a homer. I was born and raised in Los Angeles, so I'm straight down the line for all the teams here. The Rams left me 20 years ago, and then they came back, and they thought that they can just win me over right away, like your girlfriend dumped you, and then she comes back and tries to just pick up where they left off. It's like, hey, not so fast. I can smell St. Louis all over you.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of warming up to that, although I also start to really like the New Orleans Saints in football because I spent so much time down there shooting the series and got to know Sean Payton and went to some of the games, and it's a lot of fun. That team's really fun. I think they're going to do well this year.
So Your Honor, obviously, yeah, like you just said, takes place in New Orleans. How much New Orleans do we get? Because I love, when you watch a show and like The Wire is Baltimore or Breaking Bad, you're in the middle of the desert. How much do we get of New Orleans? How much of New Orleans is a character in this show?
You get it. We did this right. I think we gave it its prominence, and we're in the court system. We're in the French Quarter. We're along the Mississippi River. We're seeing the streetcars and the jazz and the second line marching during funerals, and it's the food. It's such a passionate city. It was great to work down there, and it was a great backdrop for this story.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that you're the best actor in television history?
Do you think so?
I'm going to say something with confidence. Yes.
No.
I think you are.
I don't think in those. I honestly don't think in those terms. I have no idea. I don't really care. I don't think that can be answered, and it's not even important to answer it. I just do the work. I have a blue collar background. We didn't have money growing up. My parents split up. We got kicked out of our house, foreclosed on. I had to live with my grandparents for a year. It's just so it was a tough, confusing kind of childhood, and you navigate your way through it. And the thing that I took with me that always was in my back pocket is the ability to work and to shut up, keep your nose clean, do the work. And that's all I know how to do. Some, young actors will tell me, well, what do you attribute it to? And I go, I really don't know. I just keep working. So when it comes to awards and things like that, which I've had an abundance of given to me, which I'm very happy about, but it's always come as a surprise. Just, someone taps me on the shoulder. I'm focused on the work, and someone wants to honor me. It's like, that's great. So that's the basis of it. I just love to work. I love to tell stories, and I think it's one of the sweetest things about human beings is that whether you're 2 or 102, you always want to be told a story.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, and always when I see somebody on TV, and if it's an actor or an actress, and they can cry on command, to me that's just like a cheat code. I'm like, well, they must be the best actor of all time. Like, I'll give you a specific scene. I think it was in Ozymandias. It was the one where Hank got killed, right?
Yeah.
I just love any series that kills anybody named Hank. Just for the record, that's our producer's name. When he's killed at the end, when you have that breakdown and kind of things become real, you start to bargain. You go through like all the stages of grief essentially within, a 15, 30-second time span. What's making you go through that? Do you actually get a little bit afraid in the moment? And then secondly, how long does it take you to like get back to zero and recover after shooting such an emotionally intense scene?
Well, that's a good observation, because it does cost you. Actors have to be willing to spend their capital emotionally. In order to be an effective actor, you do have to have talent. I don't want to dispute that. You do. But you also have to have an insatiable curiosity to be able to do the research, to be able to use your imagination on things you can't find. The other thing is you have to be willing to open up the cavity of your life and say, okay, I'm going to appear in my underwear. I'm going to show that Walter White, when we first see him, was flabby and pasty and out of shape, and I'm going to show that. And as embarrassing as it may be for you personally, it's right for the character. So you have to go there and allow yourself to be exposed like that and potentially humiliated. But what's great about human beings is that when you get out of middle school, in middle school, when someone embarrasses themselves, everyone laughs with them and laughs at them. You get out of when you're in college and later, you see someone publicly embarrassed or humiliated, that's the last thing you want to do, because you don't want it to be you. So you emotionally or even physically put your arms around that person to protect them. And that's what draws in an audience. When they can relate to a person's flaws when they're not perfect and they're trying. They go, that guy is me, or that's you. I recognize that person. And then you take them on that journey with you, and they trust you because you've shown them your vulnerability. I was in my underwear, and that's all. And those people are going, that poor bastard, man. Mm-hmm. And he's dying of cancer, and oh my God. So I'm on board with you, and then you've got them. Then you take them for a ride, and you have a responsibility to fulfill that promise.